Hi, folks. Welcome to my first mental health live. Folks, what a year it's been. Who would have believed it? And I just thought it was so important to have this, to have this opportunity to ask questions if you want to, or if you want to just listen, or if you want to come back to this video later and watch it, that's absolutely fine because we've gone through so many stages throughout the year. It's been just strange to say the least. Hello, Joe. Lovely to see you in the chat. Yeah, I mean, what a year, folks. And now we have like we're coming out of the restrictions. We've come out of the third lockdown, and how are we feeling about that? Because, folks, like I know that so many of us have got so many different emotions because of this situation. And we have been on an emotional journey, to say the least. Now, first of all, for those of you who are new to me and what I do, I'm Sheila. I'm a qualified counselor. I'm a comedian. And most importantly, I'm a survivor of mental ill health. So I know what it's like to struggle with your own mental health. And I can tell you this now, folks, the amount of people that are struggling at the moment, is loads. And it's going to be, folks, because so much has happened in the last year. And just to kind of help you to make sense of some of the emotions that we've gone through, I first of all want to share with you the 7 stages of loss or grief. Because if there's one thing that we know, folks, is that we have all experienced loss. That is for definite. And when you look at stages of loss, you've got 7 different stages, folks. And so, for example, at the start of this pandemic, there would have been the shock. There would have been, what? Really? This is happening? No. And the same way as we've gone through different lockdowns, really going into, no, this can't be happening again. And almost like that denial then, that no, almost disbelief, this isn't real. And I bet you found that, folks, that during this year, I bet you there's been times where you've woken up and thought, really? Is this actually really happening? Because I know that I've certainly felt that way, folks. And then, of course, we've got the anger stage as well, where people will, of course, be feeling angry. They'll be feeling fed up because of this situation. Here we are, a year onwards. People are having yearly birthdays that they've missed, 2 birthdays in a row, so people are experiencing anniversaries of this, And then, of course, with the anger, people are getting fed up. And certainly during this time, I've really noticed how much people are suffering from COVID fatigue. And who'd blame them, folks, because we've been restricted so much for the last year that, of course, we're going to be struggling. And then we go into other things, like other stages of loss, like bargaining and thinking, well, if I was a better person, maybe this wouldn't have happened, And then we can go then into stages of acceptance where we think, what, it is what it is, and just do whatever we can. And then sometimes we move into that stage of hope. And that's happened a lot recently, when we've seen the cases go down, the number of deaths go down, and we see that hope. We see that hope. And then we see the restrictions being lifted. But you see, then what happens is we have this hope, and then we have people's fears coming in. And fears as they watch the news, where they see gatherings of people coming together, and they look at the parks, the areas where they can meet, and they see loads of people. And of course, they go back into lots of different stages again. And it might be depression, thinking that this is never going to end. I'm fed up and stuff like that. And actually number 5, depression, that's such an important one, actually, folks. I might have missed that one because, there's only so much that people can take. And, like when you look at depression, it's caused by a lot of different factors. And if you look at everything that's happened this year, folks, people's jobs, people being made redundant, people losing their social life, we have all been through loss this year, No, I'm not saying that vodka is the only thing to get you through, but it can help. But this is water, honestly. Okay. And you know what? It is important not to judge. Folks, yeah, I'm just reading chat. You've definitely been between these stages over the past year. Absolutely, Joe. That we've been on such an emotional roller coaster. Because when you think about it, if there's one thing we have all experienced, we've all experienced loss. And that's the reality of the situation, folks. So yeah, so we're going to be going up and down in these stages. And so here we are, the lifting of restrictions and how we're feeling like that. So some people are feeling hopeful. Some people are feeling excited, delighted to be out there, making plans, doing whatever we can. Some people are feeling angry, they're looking at gatherings of people in the park, they're getting angry, thinking, why are people sticking to the rules? And I think it is so important that we don't judge people, that we really don't know what goes on in other people's lives. And I just think that when we judge people, we just divide ourselves more. And we certainly don't need that now, that this is the very time to come together and to help each other as much as we can, folks. And to understand that people have different needs. Some people may need, to go off and meet certain people that maybe ideally they shouldn't be doing, but for their own mental health, they may need to do that. And you know what? If people are breaking the rules, it's down to the police to judge that and to sort that one out. So I suppose it is kind of focusing on ourselves as individuals and looking after ourselves and looking after our mental health. So yeah, so we're going to go up and down through these stages, folks, and like that, yes, the restrictions have started to lift, but this is still ongoing. That's the thing, folks. So sometimes we get too much in the hope and think, oh, it's all over now, everything's fine. We're looking at the numbers, it's all back to normal. And that's not the reality of the situation. This is ongoing, and so we are going to maybe go back into that depression. Maybe we're going to feel angry. But something from a mental health point of view, folks, it's just so important that we find ways to offload that emotion. So important because we know that when we bottle up emotions, that then manifests itself into mental health conditions. It's like that expression you hear, depression is merely anger without enthusiasm. And I love that because there is such an element of truth to it. So, like that, folks, we're going to have so many different emotions, so many things, going through and experiencing so many things. I know we've got a couple more viewers watching at the moment. So feel free to say hello in the chat. Because if you know me, I'm used to performing in front of live audiences and having, that interaction. So doing this sort of thing, it is, it's almost strange. I think for myself personally, that's certainly been strange throughout this year. Not being able to do those live shows, to have that live interaction. I've missed that so much. Oh, Kieran White, hello. Thank you so much for saying hello in the chat. I really appreciate that. And, like, that's the thing, folks. Like I said, we've all experienced loss during this time. And for myself being a counsellor and working through this pandemic for the last year, it is so important. Again, I just really need to emphasize this, to offload different emotions. So whether you're feeling anger, whether you're feeling sadness, just to be able to offload those emotions. So if it's anger, to literally have, to make up a punch bag if you need to make one up and have a good 5 minute session on it. If you don't have a punch bag, what can be helpful is to kneel by the side of your bed and literally just clench your fist and just literally just bang down on your bed. And make sure you kneel down by your bed because you don't want to hurt your back, folks. And sometimes by physically having just 2 minutes just offloading that anger can make a huge difference. And I'll tell you something, there's something you can do to monitor whether that works for you or not. And it's called a scaling technique. And when you're feeling angry, because you will do, during this process, ask yourself from 1 to 10, how angry do I feel? 10 being the most angry. And let's say you say, I'm at an 8. Okay, I'm at an 8. And then literally kneel down by the side of your bed, clench your fist together and literally just whack down the bed for a good, we'll say like minute or so. Then, you know, okay, obviously that's going to get the heart pumping, stuff like that. Then just take a couple of deep breaths and then, you know, just ground yourself and then ask yourself, right, from 1 to 10, how am I feeling now? And if that has lessened, folks, if you've gone then from an 8 down to, like, for some people it's a 4, then you know that that works for you. So just try different ways to offload these emotions, folks, because what you don't want is having all these emotions building up. And we are going to be affected by the last year. There's no two ways about it. And you know, when we go back about how we're feeling about the restrictions being lifted, we're all going to be different about this because we all have different circumstances. You know, some of us might be in very good health, you know, with no kind of underlying conditions, may feel a bit more confident. Some of us may have had the vaccine and may feel a bit more confident with that as well. Do you know what I mean, folks? That like myself, and I'm a firm believer of lead by example. And I'll be honest with you, folks, is that you know, last Monday when it was a case of great, we can meet up to 6 people, was I doing that? No, I wasn't, folks. Because myself personally, I am cautious because I've got asthma, because I'm in my 40s and I haven't had my first vaccination yet. So I'm taking all these things into account and I'm doing what feels right for me. And I will slowly come out and meet people in person. And for example, I know Pat is watching here tonight, who I call my English mom, and we're planning to meet up next week. And I can't wait to see her. So, you know, and like that, and I know Pat has voiced her concerns as well, that I know that one of the things Pat said about, you know, gatherings, you know, big gatherings of people, big groups of people. So it's thinking about what you can do, folks. That we'll say, for example, like I'm going to go back and do a walk in Sutton Park. I haven't been to Sutton Park, you know, since last year because I just felt it was too far for me to travel and just kind of working as much within my limitations as I could. So I'm planning to go there on Saturday. Now, if I go there on Saturday and the park is absolutely rammed with people with no social distancing and no way to avoid going through groups of people, I can choose then not to go there. I can choose to say, do you know what, mates? It's lovely to see you, but this doesn't feel right for me. And Joe, absolutely. I guess it's about taking it at your own pace, isn't it? Absolutely, Joe. It really is because everybody is different, folks, you know. So I'd really encourage you just to do what feels right for you. And, you know, that's all you can do, folks, you know. Either what you've missed most during, oh, okay, what have you missed most during lockdown and what are you looking forward to doing again? That's a lovely question. Hello, last man standing. I love that name and I know you've subscribed earlier on this evening, so I really appreciate that. Okay, what have I missed most during lockdown? It's got to be the social interaction. I mean, come on, you know, growing up in Ireland, loving the crack, loving that social interaction. I think I get so much from meeting people face to face and that engagement. And while being able to do things online has been absolutely amazing, and being able to do my counseling and even do my gigs throughout the pandemic, you know, I think I mentioned at the start that I do comedy as well, and that's my release. So it's been brilliant to still do it online and to reach out to you as I'm doing now. But to meet people in person, face to face, come on, I bet you I'm not the only one here. If you're watching here tonight, please push in the chat if you've missed meeting people face to face. And of course, there's going to be the hugs. Of course, I miss the hugs. I mean, at my mental health theatre shows, I would have Pat, you know, she would give out free hugs at the show because hugs are such a massive part of connecting and feeling good. So absolutely, you know, missing that. What am I looking forward to? Hugs and meeting people. Absolutely, I can't wait. You know, but meeting people when I don't feel as apprehensive, when there isn't this kind of weight of a, you know, of a worry of, you know, the virus and you know, spreading it. I mean, I think I had it back in March, certainly because I lost my sense of taste and smell. And but still, I'm still apprehensive, folks. I'm still cautious, and it is, we can do that risk management and stuff like that. So thank you for asking that, last man standing. And Joe said definitely missing hanging out with friends. Absolutely, we're all missing that, folks. Okay, so like I said, it's been a year of loss, and it's important to feel how we really feel. It's very interesting, folks. Like I said, I work as a counselor, and one of the issues I come across is that when you have somebody that's really fed up and they are feeling down, is with other family members not allowing them to feel that way. So kind of pressures from friends or family say, oh, come on, cheer up, it's not that bad, other people have it worse. Like people mean well, but actually sometimes you just need to feel how you really feel. And sometimes if you're feeling fed up and you're feeling down and you're angry, it's okay to feel that way. And it just emphasizes that message that it's okay not to be okay. And certainly that's a biggie, folks. That's a biggie when it comes to our mental health, that and to allow other people to not be okay, to for you to be okay with them not being okay. I mean, obviously, as a trained counselor, I'm well used to people not being okay. It's like bring on the depression, bring on the anger. Okay, let's explore the stuff that's behind it. So it is important to feel how we really feel. I mean, obviously, if you find that you're living there for months and months, then it is a case of going to see your doctor. Then it is a case you may need some medication just to take the edge off things. I mean, if you're not functioning at all and you're not living you're not living at all, even within our limitations, then it really is important to go to your GP. And and then sometimes we do need to talk, and sometimes people are not in a good place themselves. So please remember the other help that's out there, like the Samaritans. They are an amazing organization, folks. And the Samaritans number 116-123, folks, that they're there, they're trained to listen. And sometimes we just need someone to listen. So I know we have a mental health crisis on our hands, the resources are limited. That what I would say, if you are really struggling, call the Samaritans. Please don't suffer in silence, folks, because it does make a huge difference. It's interesting, Joe, because when we were setting this up earlier on, Joe was saying to me, oh, the time will fly by. It absolutely has. Okay, folks, so I just want to look at some of the messages that people have sent in and just kind of asked me to have a look at. Okay, so we've got one from Sue, and she was saying that she was terrified of getting this virus again, and especially as things start getting, as busy as ever. And she said, any ideas? And what I'd like to do is I'd like to read back to you what I said to Sue, and just to give you the essence of the email. I was saying to Sue, it's totally understandable to be terrified of getting it again, especially when things get busy again. What we can do is focus on the facts and keep our fears in perspective. So I would say a big tip for tonight is focus on facts, not fears. Okay? So the vaccine, we know that the vaccine is proving as a deterrent for the severity of the symptoms. We also know that it's helping lower down the spread of the virus, so it's stopping it from escalating like the way it was before. So we see that on the TV. Oh, the Fun Club are here. Fantastic stuff. Hey Liz, Fun Club are on here. All 10 of me. Oh, that's fantastic, folks. Hello, Fun Club. Oh, that is fantastic. What a lovely bunch of people. So fun, I'm spitting away. I'm not sure what that's all about, but luckily you're not going to catch anything off me if I have anything. At least that's another good thing about doing this stuff virtually. Hi, good stuff. Hi, Liz. I see you there. Okay, so I was saying to her, that yes, when we look at the facts, folks, when we look at the news and the graph, that the vaccine is proven to be fantastic at de-escalating the virus. Okay, let's look at the reality. The reality is, folks, Liz, I love you too. Okay, let's just put that out there. I'll take all the love I can get. Okay, right. Okay, distracted there by Liz telling me that you love me. Okay, it's so nice, isn't it? Okay, folks, let's look at the facts. The reality is that COVID may never go away, and we may need to go back to this graph and actually accept that COVID may never go away. However, that doesn't mean, folks, that we won't learn to manage it as we do with the vaccines, as we do if we have to still keeping some of the social distancing or maybe wear masks. And you know the way some people will say actually the mask is a good thing because it's prevented a lot of colds and other stuff. So we might just stick to the mask. I mean, personally, I think I've got quite a creative mask. And I know that it's certainly given a laugh to many people and scared the out of other people too. But hey, that wasn't my intent. My intent is to have a laugh. Okay, folks. So it is about learning to manage it, and that could be through the vaccine. That could be different ways. Hay fever. What's with the hay fever, Liz? Do you find the mask has helped with hay fever or made that worse? She's randomly put hay fever in the chat. I'm sure she'll tell me what she means by that. Okay, folks, if you find your thoughts are really getting out of control and you find it so hard to stick to the facts and your fears are taking over, just let you know that on my website, Mind Management for You, that there is a free daily tracker, folks. Yes, thank you, Liz. So Liz, you're saying that your mask has actually helped with hay fever. Wow, that's very interesting to know. Okay, so going back to your thoughts being out of control, if you want some extra help with that, on the front page of my website, there's a free download, and it's a daily tracker, a daily thoughts tracker. Thanks, Joe. Thanks a million. Joe's put a link in the chat, folks, and it's free. And there's a set of questions, just talk you through your thoughts. And essentially, one of the questions in there, ask yourself, are you being too hard on yourself? Because sometimes, and a lot of times, folks, working as a counselor, I constantly come across people who are far too hard on themselves. Go on, let me know who can relate to that one. Who's going to be honest and relate? Because we're having an open and honest chat here, folks. Okay. Right. Okay. So, I was saying, so I'm applying to so and just kind of sharing this, I was saying that just remember to go at your own pace. You have survived the last year, which is fantastic. And to think about how have you done that? And it's true, folks, like we've survived the last year. So how have we done that? So we've obviously done stuff to keep ourselves safe relatively well as much as we can. We're not going to be ecstatically happy. Of course we're not, folks, and sometimes we're not going to be okay. And as I said, it's okay not to be okay. And sometimes you just let that pressure go. We don't need to be hard on ourselves and putting ourselves under any more pressure than we need to, folks, So I was saying to her, take it at your own pace. You've survived the last year. Think about how you've done that. Assess the situations, and you get to decide for the moment if you want to place yourself in busy areas or not. So, and I finish off then with Sue just telling her to take it step by step and remember that we are all doing our best, and that is good enough. And folks, I come across that so many times where people, they feel not good enough, they're being hard on themselves. I love that affirmation, and an affirmation meaning a statement, to literally say to yourself, I am doing my best, and that is good enough. And when I do my yoga, that's exactly what I say to myself. It's like tonight, we're live. This is going to go out as a recording afterwards. I tell you years ago, when I was crippled with anxiety and panic attacks, I would never be able to do this. I would have had too many worries. Well, what if I say the wrong thing? What if I offend somebody? And you know something? I just love that affirmation, folks. We are doing our best, and that is good enough. And once you know that you come from good intentions, that's all you can do, folks. That's all you can do. Okay, Blanche then contacted me, and she was saying, okay, it's fab news with restrictions, families can meet up. And then she says, but can we? What if your family isn't local? Ours are in Redditch, an 82-mile round trip. So that was her concern, okay? That her concern was about family, about traveling. Can we actually go and visit them? Now, I have done a bit of research on this for you, Blanche. And at the moment, it is technically legal to visit family members who live a few hours away in another part of the country and not to be fined. That's the fact. That's the fact of this situation, even though this is not in the spirit of staying local. And if you decide to do this, you must also stick to the rules of only meeting outdoors and maintaining social distancing. So, Blanche, what I say to you and what I was saying earlier on in this live talk is that do what feels right for you. And if other people judge you, so be it, because they don't know what it's like being in your shoes. And that's why we can't judge other people. Some people may need to travel to go and see loved ones. I mean, for myself, to go and see my own family back in Ireland, to me, that isn't something I would do because I just feel like it's not worth the risk. So you've just got to, I'm just curious here, a bit. Bicker Life, just wonder what you're saying. Definitely good saying to go by. Oh, lovely. I assume what you mean by that is that we are doing our best and that is good enough. Absolutely. I love that as well. So, Blanche, I would say, at the moment, you won't get fined if you go traveling, a distance to see your loved one. And I think do what feels right for you, Blanche. I hope that helps. Okay. And then we have Pat as well, who I did cover. Hey, Alan, lovely to have you checking in. Alan from Lowbridge Creation, fantastic stuff. Yeah, so, going back to Pat, then Pat was saying, about she was saying about feeling very anxious, maybe a little frightened, having these restrictions being lifted, and there's fears around not everybody obeying the rules. And totally understand that, Pat. Again, I would, just think about what you can do. You can choose where you go. If you turn up in the park and the park feels unsafe, don't go into the park. Just remember that you've got choices, folks. I'm not saying about vodka, I mean water, very important to keep yourself hydrated during this time. I wonder if anybody else has started their Easter holidays, because I'm on my Easter holidays tomorrow. And even though, we're in restrictions, it's still so important to take time out and to take holidays, folks, and look after our own mental health. So I'm certainly looking forward to taking next week off. And I hope that most of you are doing the same too. I hope you're having a holiday, even if it is a staycation. Teresa's saying, it's quite simple, but I think it's very powerful. And the saying is, this too will pass. And the reality is historically, pandemics, epidemics, they pass, folks. We find ways to get them under control and to get them manageable. And it is about that hope, going back to that graph that we're on, it is about, realizing that this will pass, folks, that historically it will pass. I know we can, I love that, Joe Foster. Me, I've got my glass of wine already. Great stuff, Joe. Joe, I hope you're not getting drunk because I still need you to keep an eye on the chat, okay? And in case I need help, Joe's very professional. I know she won't get too drunk. Okay, folks. So let me just see if I covered everything I want to cover. I know we're coming up to about a half an hour, and that was kind of how I kind of anticipated. Again, please offload your emotions. Please don't bottle up your emotions, folks. And Joe says just one glass. I thought she was going to say one, and I was going to say yes, bottle. But anyway, it is so important to offload your emotions, folks. Breathing can be fantastic, especially breathing can be fantastic. Did you know that breathing keeps you alive? Funny fact, isn't it? Okay, folks. That just let you know that on my YouTube channel, I did a show on anxiety coronavirus special. That there's some lovely breathing techniques. It's called rectangular breathing. Folks, if you get a chance, have a look at that video and check out that lovely rectangular breathing. Out of interest, as we're coming towards the end, folks, any questions, feel free to chuck them into the chat, folks. If you do have any questions, and no worries if you don't, I'm just happy to have you on here watching. And and just letting you know that there's other things, like there's a therapeutic guided meditation for people that need that emotional offload. there's a video about it on my YouTube channel, so feel free to check that out if you want to, folks. Yeah, I just want to say thanks a million, thank you for, coming along tonight, for watching. I know some of you may be watching the recording afterwards. I hope that you found this helpful, just being able to talk openly and honestly, and just go at your own pace, folks, just because this is trial and error. We've never been in this situation before, so we don't know how we're going to react. All we can do is just take it step by step. And I really encourage you with that, folks. Just if things feel overwhelming, just break things down and take it step by step, folks, minute by minute, hour by hour, day by day. Let's just go with it. And you know what? Another thing, folks, when you're thinking about all these different feelings going around and restrictions and how you're feeling about and all this, just think about, how does your pet think of the coronavirus? So for example, what's your pet, your cat or your dog, what's their attitude towards this pandemic? And it's probably going to be, what? I don't care. Just feed me. Just give me some food and give me some love when I need it. So, okay, last man standing says, did you take anything positive from lockdown? Loads. I feel very fortunate because there's been loads. Personally, I have benefited greatly from having that time to reflect, from even, working with clients, them having time for their lives just to stop. Because even before COVID, people's lives were far too busy, and even my own, if I was to be honest, that I put things in place where I now have like a spa day if I can, and I make up my own spa kind of facilities within the house and just kind of look after myself. And just, just being able to stop and just really appreciate nature more. And I've loved finding new walks in my area. I tend to, you'll see me randomly going around Middleton Lakes and all different places getting lost, so there's so much, to take positive from lockdown, actually. And that sense of community, like I've gotten to know more of my neighbours. I've loved that, folks. I've loved that. And I think in some places, I think a lot of that was missing, actually. That sense of community. We need each other. As human beings, we're not meant to be on our own. I really don't believe that. And I think, just thinking about that community, getting out and meeting people, connection, so important. And even doing it this way, so be it, folks, that there's so many ways that we can help each other. And that's why I've created this mental wealth community, because as I said at the very start, I'm a survivor of mental ill health. But you know what? It doesn't have to define us. So even if you are going through depression at the moment, anxiety, panic attacks, yes, it's awful to go through that. But you know what? It doesn't have to be forever, and it doesn't have to define who you are. Sometimes mental health conditions are a symptom of what's going on, or being restricted, or limitations. And actually, sometimes that it is a case of working through that, surviving. If that's all that you can do at the moment, that's fine. But it doesn't have to be forever. This too will pass, folks. So, okay, folks, I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope you found it helpful. I really welcome your feedback, folks. Like I said, this is my first mental health live, and it's been fantastic. If you want to have the Fun Club on, Joe, Last Man Standing, Kieran, all other people, Al, Bicker's Life, I'm loving the name of that. So, folks, lovely to have you on as part of this mental health live tonight. I welcome your feedback, folks. If you found us helpful, let me know, and we'll see if we can do more of these. And just let's keep it real, do you know what I mean? And let's continue to work together, folks, so we can continue to have, great mental health regardless of what's going on. Okay, folks, that's me done for now. I am definitely ready for my Easter holidays. I know that Joe has a drink ready. I've got me Tia Maria in the house ready. So again, folks, thanks a million. And look, if there's anything I can help with counselling and stuff like that, I'm having the week off. Come back to me after that, and let's see what we can do. Okay, thanks a million, folks, and thanks a million to Joe, who was helping me earlier on to get this set up. And I look forward to seeing you all in person one day. Bring it on, folks. So lots of love from me, folks, to all of you, and just do what feels right for you. Okay, folks, look after yourself. Have a great bank holiday weekend. And cheers. Thanks, last man standing. I appreciate that. Okay, cheers, folks. See you then. Bye.